Chapter 1812. Offering Sacrifice to the Gods. 3 missions have been accepted, and there are only 2 remaining demon bodies. The alien groups that were still hesitant began to get anxious. In the end, XIN's mission was taken away by the Cardinal of the Junjing Church. And Gen's mission was taken away by the 8 tribes of Bharata, led by Emperor Shirtian. This is not a simple combat mission. Everyone knows that it contains great dangers, so they must be fully prepared. The first thing Zhang Yi did was to find Bodaka and ask for a large amount of combat supplies again. Although Bodaka was so angry that his nose was about to be crooked, he thought that Zhang Yi was dealing with Ding, the 4th-ranked demon, and the mission was very difficult. In the end, he had to bear the pain and provide Zhang Yi with a large amount of equipment. The various alien troops were busy. They obtained the most detailed information from Fremons, and then planned the route map and formulated a combat plan. No one dared to be careless, and no one was stupid enough to go directly to the destination. Zhang Yi was the most unhurried among these teams, because he didn't need to consider the time to rush and the problem of exposing himself on the road. So, after returning to his residence, he immediately gathered everyone together. Except for Lu Karen and Yang Xinxin, they had been busy cracking the demon god machine and the data in the memory. Zhang Yi knocked on the table, and everyone's eyes looked at him. Zhang Yi said, after a few days of rest, everyone has adjusted almost. I have accepted the combat mission, and next we will go to the Idahua Federation area. This time the opponent is demon god Ding. The number of the opponent's fleet and other information has been provided by Fremons. It is a large group army, with more than 30,000 combat models and 20,000 engineering models. There are 5 super-large mechanical life forms. The combat power of these is easy to judge, but we don't know what level demon god Ding's strength is. At this point, Zhang Yi smiled lightly and said, "But you don't need to worry about this problem. Liang Yu, Deng Shentong, Huahua, and the Fueying troops. You are responsible for dealing with those combat groups. As for demon god Ding, leave it to me." Bailey Chongqing stood aside with his arms folded and suddenly asked, "Don't you consider using the god of death of love?" Zhang Yi shook his head. "There is no such plan at the moment. The destructive power of the death of love is too strong. It destroyed all those mechanical life forms. Are we going to collect junk? They are all good things. Don't waste them. The missile carries the death of love warhead. The target is too obvious and it will almost certainly be shot down. Zhang Yi can use his ability to detonate it at close range. But based on his judgment of the demon god's body, this should not have a very good effect. That kind of all-round defense force field is probably second only to a Sinlua Wanxiang in defense power. Coupled with the strong steel body, the death of love may not be effective." Deng Shintong said, "We now have a lot of information on mechanical life forms. It is not difficult to deal with those fleets. But, demon god Ding, how do you plan to deal with it?" Zhang Yi slowly stretched out 2 fingers. 2 possibilities. First, Ding is an upgraded version of the demon god Gui. Based on the demon god Gui, various performances have been greatly improved. If this is the case, I have a way to deal with it. He can't break my defense, I can hold him back and fight. Either I kill him directly, or wait for you to come to help after you have dealt with the opponent. The second possibility is that Ding has abilities that the demon god Gui doesn't have. But even so, his strength can't reach the level of crushing me. Otherwise, on the day when Karen City fell, there would be no survivors in the Temple of the Gods. So I have a rough range of judgment on his strength. In this case, I can at least guarantee that your life will not be in danger in front of him. Then, I will remind you to be ready to escape at any time. So don't disperse at the beginning of the war. I will launch the first round of attacks to create a battlefield environment that is favorable to us." After listening to this, everyone nodded. Now they can only listen to Zhang Yi's tactical arrangements. After all, they really can't give any help on how to deal with the demon god Ding. Deng Shintong asked, "When will we act?" Zhang Yi asked Yang Xinxin and Lu Karen, "When will we act?" Lu Karen replied, 2 days. Yang Xinxin replied, 3 days. Zhang Yi nodded. "Okay, then 3 days." Fatty Su came over with a smile and winked in Zhang Yi's ear. "Lauda, Are you too partial to Miss Yang? Be careful that Miss Lu will be unhappy. Zhang Yi glanced at him. What do you know about feather dusters? You don't think that I've been staying here every day to guard them all this time, and it's all in vain, right? Kara needs 2 days to prepare, and Xinshin needs 3 days. Then I must wait 3 days and make full preparations before taking action. The preparation period is very long, and in the next few days, those demons appeared one after another. The remaining 9 demons all showed their traces, and the excavation work of the mechanical army also significantly accelerated the progress. The judgment made by Fremons and other countries is that the mechanical civilization has approached what they want to find. And that mysterious thing must be a huge treasure. The aliens who acted previously. The team got good things to a certain extent, so they believed in it. So they took on the next combat missions one after another. The mission of Demon God Wu was taken on by the Fremons and human team led by Newton and Brian. Demon God Ren, the European Alliance, the Temple, Asgard. Demon God Ji, the Khotan Empire, the Shadow Demon Legion of Emperor Saladin. Demon God A was taken on by the Roman God Court, which also came from Europe, and the Lord Jupiter. The European alliance at this time was not the same as in the past. Some powerful countries left the alliance, and some countries merged due to the conquest of the strong. The most obvious one was the Khotan Empire led by Saladin, which integrated more than a dozen small countries between the Eurasian continent and formed a new empire with a vast territory. Of course, in addition to the areas guarded by the demon god bodies, there were also mechanical legions in various parts of Fremons, and these areas were handed over to the inhuman teams of weaker countries to suppress. Zhang Yi had to spend 3 days to make full preparations, but not everyone had his patience. Many people were eager to take action after receiving the mission. For example, the team of the Roman God Court set foot on the ruins of a huge nuclear power plant located in the Iraman Federation area, the Temple of the Gods. Morana assembled half of the powerful aliens, including Alexei, the Thunder God Purin, and Jusberg, the Moon God, and prepared to set off to the area where Demon God B was located. They had a brief fight with many demons when the city of Karen fell, so they knew very well how strong they were. Therefore, Morana did not act rashly in this battle, but concentrated a strong force. The reason why Demon God B was chosen as the target this time was because the area where B was located was Karen, the capital of Fremons. When Padaga knew that Morana was about to lead the team to the expedition, he hurried to stop her. Morana, are you acting too hastily? This battle is bound to be very dangerous. It is better to let Chaos, King Arthur, Columbia, and the Junjing Church go to test it first. Wait until they successfully defeat the strong enemy, and then unite them to fight against the upper demon god B. Bodaka persuaded Morana with an excited face. Morana is the most powerful alien in Fremons, and no one will doubt this. And she is like a sharp sword, the most powerful and the most vulnerable to damage, otherwise the whole Fremons will be in turmoil. At this time, he envied Huashu country very much, with 2 bishop-level aliens sitting in the country. When Zhang Yi was away, at least there was Ho Tu to guard Huashu country. But unfortunately, in recent years, Fremons' national strength has also declined significantly, and its population and economic strength are not ranked high in the world. The birth of a bishop-level alien is still a blessing from heaven, and they spent resources to cultivate at all costs. Bodaka can't tolerate Morana getting into trouble. Morana's eyes were always cold, not against anyone, but naturally so. We must take back Karen City ourselves. Otherwise, we can't wash away the shame of Fremons. Over the past many years, due to several defeats on the battlefield, many countries have despised Fremons. We even almost lost the qualification to be a leader. This time, we finally have an opportunity to gather the alien teams from all over the world here. I must prove here that Fremons is still strong. No one can shake it. Bodaka wanted to say something else, but seeing Morana's ice-blue eyes that revealed strong self-esteem and self-confidence, he swallowed those words back after all. Okay. Bodaka nodded. Then let's fight side by side. Win this battle beautifully. As an administrative official, he is an important existence in leading logistics. In today's doomsday environment, logistics is the top priority of a country. Although his personal combat power is not outstanding, in a real decisive battle, intelligence and resource supply are extremely important. He will lay a good battlefield for Morana and others. This time, Morana was well prepared. He dispatched 5 Epsilon-level aliens alone. In addition to the 3 people mentioned above, there are 2 more: God of Fire, Dazabog, with an ability index of 19,000 points, and God of Hades, Vials, with 18,000 points. The combat power of such an alien team is very amazing. After all, 2 Epsilons with a strength close to that of the Black Chariot, 2 Black Chariots, and a White Bishop are enough to stir up a huge storm anywhere in the world. In this battle, they not only have to win, but also win beautifully. Others set off one after another, because the demon god may not wait for them in one place. Zhang Yi waited steadily for 3 days, until 3 days later, when Lu Karen and Yang Xinxin had completed their work. Yang Xinxin put her hands down from the supercomputer with a trace of fatigue in her eyes. Even the strongest brain is tired because of too much thinking. But deep in her eyes, there was an uncontrollable excitement. Yang Xinxin directly transmitted a piece of information to Zhang Yi and then said, "Brother, I need to take a good rest. Call me if you need anything." Zhang Yi's intelligence system immediately obtained a lot of data and quickly extracted the core content. After seeing it, Zhang Yi showed a relaxed smile. "Well, take a good rest. The next thing should be handed over to me." The time was up. Zhang Yi took a brand new bracelet from Lu Karen's hand and then walked out of the shadow space. At this time, Deng Shintong was. The Tianxin squad led by Zhang Yi and the Fueying troops led by Bailey Chongqing were all ready to go, just waiting to go straight to the battlefield. After Zhang Yi came out, he looked at everyone with a smile on his face. "Let's go." "Yes, Your Excellency." The shouts of the Fueying troops members shook the sky. Zhang Yi's smart device confirmed the coordinates of the Atoa Federation area, located it according to the high-energy reaction zone, and then opened the dimensional door and led everyone to rush in that direction. Atoa Federation area. This was once the scope of human cities, but now there are almost no remnants of human buildings in the entire Federation area. The major cities have been almost destroyed. The dense clouds in the sky covered the sky, and there was a haze under the sky. At this time, a dull sound came from the earth, and the sound echoed in all directions, as if the earth had fallen. The next moment, a huge red light column shot up into the sky and directly dispersed the clouds. The terrifying energy fluctuations have a power that is beyond the reach of human thermal weapons in this era. The clouds were blown away, revealing the scarred, frozen land below. Everywhere he looked, there were mechanical life forms moving around. There were dozens of dark caves, the largest of which could even reach hundreds of kilometers in diameter, and the smallest of which could also reach more than 10 kilometers in diameter. On top of the ruins, a demon covered in black armor squatted on a collapsed building, looking up at the sky dimly. He looked a bit like a knight wearing a bamboo hat in ancient Huashu country, because he had a piece of black armor similar to a bamboo hat on his head, and extending from his head to the back, it was a huge cloak formed by pieces of armor that shone dimly. It looked like a huge prehistoric centipede lying on the back of a giant, and it was strange and beautiful. The clouds in the sky he looked up at were stirred up, and they could no longer cover everything he wanted to see. In the boundless sky, a huge polyhedron could be seen floating there, like the eyes of a god overlooking the whole world. The gods created huge eyes to stare at the world, and mortals offer blood as sacrifices to please the gods. Such a sentence came from the mouth of the demon god Ding. The words of the demon god Ding came from the six-winged king, who led them. He didn't understand what these words meant. He just followed the orders of the 6 wings and created chaos on this land. Then, attract those weak surface races to come. Then it was killing. It was that simple. So literally speaking, their battle was similar to some kind of sacrifice, trying to attract the gods who observe this world and get rewards. Perhaps what they wanted to find with all their heart was related to this matter. But the demon god Ding didn't understand what the point of doing this was. That kind of weak and backward race, whose technological level was just like the reptiles under the ground, would actually fight so hard with their engineering vehicles. Is this arrangement meaningful? The demon god Ding lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Maybe it was, maybe not, but it really didn't mean much to him. After all, to him, life was not a meaningful thing. Just as he was thinking this, he suddenly felt an unusual breath in the air. He looked up at the sky, his eyes fixed on a certain point in the void. Suddenly, a hole was torn in the clear sky. A very huge hole. One by one, dark gun muzzles and cannon muzzles extended from the hole, aiming at the entire ground. The next moment, hundreds of thousands of gun barrels and cannon muzzles roared together. Zhang Yi and his team arrived at the battlefield. They looted the two arsenals in Fremons, not for collection, but to make them useful at critical moments.
For example, now, the
energy reaction in the area where Demon God Ding is located is very strong, and there are not only the previous engineering troop mechanical life forms here, but also tens of thousands of combat mechanical life forms. Their combat effectiveness is incomparable to what Zhang Yi encountered when he first arrived in Fremons. Zhang Yi never saves resources in battle. In order to win and ensure that the people around him are not injured or killed, he will pour out ammunition without hesitation. Nearly half of the ammunition in the entire Fremons temporary capital was in his hands, and there were millions of artillery shells alone. Not to mention bullets which were at the level of billions. In an instant, iron rain began to fall from the sky.
bang,
Bang, bang, bang,
bang, bang, bang.
Countless tongues of fire roared down from the sky, attacking all the mechanical life forms on the earth indiscriminately. After those mechanical life forms realized the attack, their eyes suddenly turned scarlet. Alarm, alarm. Enemy attack detected. Prepare for battle. Mechanical voices rang out over the entire battlefield. The first thing they did was to deploy their own defense force fields to the sky. One after another, the defense force fields covered the entire land, and in an instant, they had an intimate collision with the dense iron rain. Boom! The explosion sounded, and the barrage in the air seemed to never stop, and continued to pour out. Zhang Yi was suspended in the air, looking at the entire battlefield under his feet, and the most dangerous demon god Ding with sharp eyes. His goal was very clear. In the initial stage, all the ammunition in the two armories was directly used up. Not a single bullet was left. Demon God Ding looked at Zhang Yi, and what he saw in his eyes was a complex data stream. The target has been confirmed, codenamed Time and Space. Data synchronization has been completed, and the best battle plan has been arranged. Demon God Ding raised his head and looked at Zhang Yi. The next moment, a thing similar to a magic eye suddenly appeared on his centipede-like hat. A large red energy crystal was embedded in the center of the magic eye. He aimed the magic eye at Zhang Yi and instantly released an extremely powerful energy cannon. It was already difficult to describe it as an energy cannon because it was a red energy beam with a diameter of more than 200 meters, rushing directly into the sky and rushing towards Zhang Yi. On Zhang Yi's side, the intelligence system gave timely feedback based on the energy level. Energy body attack detected. The preliminary judgment result of the supernatural power index is 36,000 points. Got it. Zhang Yi's voice was cold, and his left eye, the original pupil, had been distorted and changed, and soon became the style of an old pocket watch. A second hand moved slowly and steadily. The ability of the second hand of time was enough to allow him to foresee the 3-second future events that were about to happen around him. The 3,000 dimensional gates of the universe were guarded in front of him, leaving no gaps. His ability index was 32,000 points, while the enemy's strength was about 36,000 points. Considering that the body could burst out attacks beyond the normal level when overloaded, it could even temporarily reach the level of 40,000 points. So, the advantage was on Zhang Yi's side. Boom! A powerful red energy beam shot towards Zhang Yi, and when it touched the dimensional gate, it sank directly into it. The endless energy caused the dimensional gate to have obvious turbulence. However, this level of tentative attack was not enough to destroy it. Zhang Yi's backhand was full counterattack, and from another dimensional gate, he directly returned the attack to the demon god Ding intact. How fast the attack came, how fast it went back. Ding looked up at the sky and suddenly took out a slender and long weapon with his right hand. It should be considered a spear, but it looked like a large iron clamp. The spear gently blocked the top of his head, and an invisible barrier was propped up like an umbrella. All the energy that descended on the top of his head was dispersed to both sides along the curved surface of the barrier. The earth turned into countless dust in an instant. The figure of demon god Ding disappeared in an instant. What a fast speed! Zhang Yi had seen the combat power of demon god Gui and knew that the speed of this combat-type body was even faster than the most advanced fighter. But this speed, which was like teleportation, still made him frown slightly. Fortunately, he never relied on his naked eyes to capture the position of the human body, but relied on the second hand of time to predict the future. No matter how fast you are, your position at a certain moment in the future is fixed, and this result cannot be changed. At this time, the extravagant play of Lord of War has produced a huge effect. It is true that the defense field of the mechanical life form can defend against attacks, but it is not invincible, and it also consumes energy. Humans are creatures that are backward in the eyes of mechanical life forms. As long as the number of thermal weapons is large enough and the energy level is high enough, it will also pose a huge threat to them. When tens of millions of shells and bullets fell, the battlefield was already full of explosions, and a large number of machines were destroyed. However, Zhang Yi had no intention of stopping the attack. After all, the ammunition of the two arsenals could not be fired so quickly even with hundreds of thousands of guns and cannons.